Money Vikings, welcome back to the channel. I got a really special one for you today. I'm going to go through the top 4 things when looking back made the biggest difference in becoming a self-made millionaire over the years. So this is probably one that is more for our younger audience, probably 20s, 30s, maybe early 40s. Still have a lot of time, even in your early 40s, to build wealth and to invest. And really, you should be investing your whole life. So it's really for everyone. But when I look back now over 20 plus years of investing and building wealth, I wanted to boil down the 4 things that made the biggest difference in that wealth building journey. So, first thing I want to say is that I am a person that comes from a middle class background and have a middle class job. I did not invent a tech company. I did not invent an app. I did not, have some, I didn't win the lottery, nothing like that. It was just 4 key principles that I'm going to go through today that made, I believe, some of the biggest difference. And the other reason I want to share these ideas is because a lot of times I'll see, sort of YouTubers and people, financial gurus talk about this stuff, but it's a lot of times it's things that worked in the past. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to find things that would work today. So if I was 20 years old today, what would work if I was starting my wealth building journey, today at 20 or 30 years old, whatever it may be. So with that said, I want to give a little more context about where I started out. So, one of the first things, I was blessed in a lot of ways. I had 2 loving parents and a very nice childhood. So when you have those types of things in place, those fundamentals, you're already at an advantage in this world, because I realize not everybody has that type of start in life. But in terms of finances, when I graduated college, I did have school loan debt. I think I had somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000 in school loan debt. So, I remember that first job and that first day getting out into my apartment at 22 years old, whatever it was, 21 years old. And I remember, sort of having this realization. First of all, you go, buy groceries and stuff for the first time off of your full-time salary, and you're like, wow, this is really expensive. So even back then in the late 90s, people were thinking, well, people starting out, we're just starting out. So I'm just trying to say it wasn't always easy. But at the end of the day, I had, I started with about a negative $20,000 net worth, right? Something like that. And so I realized I had to start doing something to, first of all, take care of that and then build wealth over time. I kind of did have enough foresight, I think, to want to do that. So here are the 4 things that I want to talk about. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail as to why they're so critical. But the first one, and I know you guys have heard me talk about this before that watch the channel. So the biggest thing that I think was done right that I would do again today is automate investing, okay? Somehow get a percentage, and I hear Ramit talk about it. I mean, so a lot of people talk about 10 to 20%. It's pretty high. That can be a lot for a lot of people, especially with inflation these days. But trying to get that, and I'm a big fan of anything. So even if you can get 4 or 5% of your paycheck every 2 weeks being automated into investment vehicles, I think that is absolutely critical. It's critical for a lot of reasons. First of all, it takes the human equation out of it, right? So we are our own worst enemy a lot of times when it comes to personal finances. And we come to money with a lot of baggage. That's why we started this channel. We started this blog, is to start talking about these things in our society that people feel very uncomfortable, and to this day feel very uncomfortable talking about. I've learned by interviewing people, talking with people about money. I mean, there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of baggage that is rolled up in our relationship with money. And, it has to do with our self-worth, I think, how we feel about ourselves and our society. And I would just encourage you to do the work to look inside, do the work to see the world for what it really is, what's really important. It's, I like the Susie Orman kind of quotes about, I remember this one that stuck with me. She said, people first, money then things, I believe is how it is. You can correct me in the comments if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe it's people first, money, and then things. And I do believe in that. So it's all about people first and the human aspect. Money is a tool, right? And it's a resource, and it can be used for a lot of things. So the first thing though is definitely automating investments, okay? And having that money taken out of the paycheck right away. You get used to living on the 5, 10, 15% reduction right away, and you just adapt to that. People adapt to what their income is. That's why they always talk about, there's a lot of talk about, lifestyle creep, because that is real. People tend to think, well, when I make this much, then I will save, then I will invest. That's absolutely the wrong way to look at it. We have to figure out how to live within our means, even on a small salary, or a modest salary. We have to learn how to live within our means. And then from there, we have to automate some amount of that, going into investments automatically. The magic doesn't start at first, I'll be honest. The first 10 years seemed a little bit like, I don't know how to say it, but it was not uneventful, like, the money will grow, it will compound, it will go up, every month or so, and then down with different things. Lived through the Great Recession, 9/11, all these other things that happen. But, the first 10 years can be a little bit like underwhelming, I guess is the word. And so, but after that, you do notice that things like compounding interest, when everything's reinvested, reinvest in dividends and all that, that really starts to take off. You're buying more shares, and those shares are hopefully growing over time, and you're doing a lot better, and it starts to really show progress. So that's the first one. And there's a subset of that idea of automatic investing. So when you're automating, also ignore the market turbulence is what I would tell myself. This is always advice to myself that I'm sharing with the world, but ignoring market turbulence is very important. And the reason for that is pretty clear. When the market goes down, you're buying more shares. And yet that's what you have to realize. You have to think about the number of shares you're buying in addition to the value of the account. People look at investment accounts and they just look at the top line number. And then if the market tanks for a while and goes down 20%, they get so discouraged. But that's not the point. The idea is you're building as we've talked about a lot, you're building what is called a passive income machine, okay? There's never a day when you're going to completely take all of that money out. That's not really the vision. The vision is to draw a monthly income off of that nest egg at some future date. So that was the first thing. The second thing is a little bit connects to ignoring market turbulence. It's number 2. It's persevering through struggle. So when I look back, it was critical to persevere through difficult times and not just quit or give up. And that could be in a lot of different situations. That could be in a career or job situation, a project, a personal project, trying to finish school or finish some sort of master's degree, trying to work through the difficulties of managing money, the challenges of managing money. But you have to develop some amount of thick skin. Maybe the word isn't thick skin, but the ability to have some grit to get through the difficult times. I'll give you an example. There were some difficult times with investment properties, right? So, I don't think investing in real estate is for everyone in terms of hands-on real estate, but that can be very challenging at times. And it shouldn't be sugar-coated. It's not get rich quick. It's not easy. It takes a while, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of coordination, but a lot of good things that are worth it in life do. So I would just say, learn some grit, some ability to persevere. Things don't always seem to work out in life, I would say in most cases, the way our minds maybe imagine something, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. I think the world has a way of just unfolding the way it will. There's that great example of, we control, there's these concentric circles, and, we really control that circle, right? We probably have influence over that one. And then everything else outside of that in the universe is completely out of our control. And there's a wisdom and a beauty in that sort of, letting go, or that surrender to that, right? So that would be number 2, is just developing that muscle of perseverance and grit through struggle. I think that made a big difference as well over the years. The third one is You have to learn some level of money skills. It's why we started Money Vikings. We are taught, I realized as an adult, and you look back, we are taught almost nothing. At least from my experience, I was taught almost nothing in high school or even in college for that matter about money. Nothing about really investing. And I feel like I had a good education in general. I feel like I had a very good high school education. I felt like I went to, a good university, all that stuff. The information was extremely valuable. The friendships, the connections, the development was all extremely valuable. But it would have been really good and helpful to have a series of courses on practical personal finance. And that's why there's such a rise of people, I think, even like me, that are out there sharing these ideas, because I think we just see that there's this huge gap. I think it is getting better. I think with with like YouTube and the internet, it's getting better. There's a lot of great resources and books out there. But on the other end, there's also a lot of bad information, and there's a lot of just junk out there. There's a lot of, clickbait and get rich quick and, do this to the moon, and it's just gotten out of control. So it takes a skill to see through that and to manage it. So number 3 is continually learning about finances and personal finance and investing. Now, I understand that money nerds like me, we're kind of into all this stuff. Like Jerry and I are really into it all. So we like to learn about these things, which is very nerdy and geeky of us. And I understand most people are probably not like that. But I would just say, watch Money Vikings, read the blog, check out other people that resonate with you. I'm a big Ramit fan, of course, Ramit Sethi. Find some really good books out there. Whatever works for you. Susie Orman. There's so many good books out there. Check out the Money Vikings book, Conquering Financial Freedom. That one's, a couple bucks. You get an ebook that totally walks you through how we invested and what we did over the years. What worked, what didn't. But anyway, we have to continue to develop our money skills over time. Most people don't understand the difference between a Roth IRA or normal IRA. People don't even really understand what a 401k is. I bet most people don't even know that that's like a part of the tax code and has to do with, putting that money into investments and reducing your taxable income. There's so many nuances out there that are so confusing. What's a bond versus a stock? What are the risks of buying individual stocks versus buying diversified exchange traded funds or mutual funds? What's a REIT? All these things are questions that we answer here, but we have to continue to educate ourselves. So that made a big difference. And let me tell you why I actually think it made the biggest difference. I think it made the biggest difference because over time, I didn't fall for schemes and traps. Now, I made mistakes. I think that's just sort of part of existence and life in this world. I think that living life it's not a success-only journey. It takes, we stumble, we fall, we're humans, we're fallible, we have egos, we have all these things, these hang-ups. But I would just say continue to try to learn money skills, learn the lingo, learn some basics about taxes, learn the essentials of investing. What is compound growth? What is proper diversification for you? Learning your particular risk tolerance was one of the biggest things I would talk with people about, is learning your risk tolerance. I think most people don't know. There's so much fear, there's so much confusion. And unfortunately, there's a lot of unscrupulous companies in Wall Street that'll take advantage of this fear and confusion. It almost helps them, I think, in a lot of perverse ways. So I think having a society where people are not that educated at the high school level and the college level, ends up, people get into all kinds of high interest debt. Then they get ashamed. They think I should be better than this. I should be doing this better, that better. And there's just all this shame around it. And we want to dissipate the shame. Take a deep breath. It's okay to be a human. It's okay to make mistakes. But continue to learn money skills and do that in your own way. There's great books at Barnes & Noble or on Amazon. Check out our book if you want. Check out our blog. Check out other blogs. Find the, financial quote unquote gurus. I'm not a guru, but the financial coaches out there, or the influencers, or the I'm not an influencer either. I don't even know. Content creator. That's the word I'm looking for. Look for those content creators that resonate with you. And I've found several that I really, really like. That they're very cool. Dwayne over at Retire 500, Retire Early 500,000 or something. He talks about retiring with a modest nest egg, and he has a really great content and perspective on life. I think he's in his 50s or something, late 50s, whatever. And he talks about how he retired on, $500,000, which a lot of people with steady employment can really achieve. So that's number 3. Continue to learn. Okay, the number 4, the fourth one that I think was the most critical in our success was, I call it, keep the investing core fundamental. And this is what I mean by that. Most of the investments, I think, should be in very normal, boring, plain vanilla things. And these are just your typical, S&P 500 exchange traded fund, that's low cost through Vanguard or something, or Fidelity, whatever it might be. Maybe you have a low risk tolerance, so you throw in some CDs, certificates of deposit that are getting 4 or 5%. And then maybe you hold some bond funds that pay 4 or 5%, whatever it might be. But the point being, keep it really simple and just a couple of things. I wouldn't have 35, 60 different investments unless that's what you want to do. You're going to spend all your time watching all these investments. And if a person just invests automatically into low-cost investment vehicles that are, have stood the test of time, they're what we call self-cleansing, some of them. So for example, the S&P 500, it's the 500 biggest, strongest companies. Well, sometimes companies fall out and new ones come up in. So, that's kind of an interesting investment vehicle because it's bringing in the stronger ones and it's getting rid of the weaker ones. It doesn't mean it always goes up. It could go down. But if you look at the last 30, 40, 50, whatever years, yeah, it's pretty much, there's been dips and then it goes back up, and there's dips and it goes back up. It's just part of the process is what I can understand. But the point of it being, I keep the investing core just very simple and straightforward and no nonsense. It's not full of, crazy altcoins or gimmicky like GameStop, to the moon type stuff. That's all fine. People can do whatever they want. It's a free country. But for me personally, I would only do that kind of what I call that weirder stuff. I'm only going to do that with 5 or 10% of money. I'm not going to do that with the core holdings of a portfolio because first of all, I just don't want to live that way. So those are the big ones. So those 4 things, I hope those were helpful to you. If there's others, please drop something in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Please share the channel as we continue to grow and add more value and just share what's working and what's not working in terms of building wealth over time. So thanks a lot for watching and see you guys on the other one. All right, bye.